have all three guests here, so I hope you're all ready. Woo! Please welcome Emily, Varun, and Tamara. And Varun.
Hi guys. Hey.
Wow.
Hi. Oh. Thank you. Do you want some of my cookie?
A cheer for when you come on.
I know.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the UK. I hope you've been enjoying it
Yes,
so far.
it's amazing. We want to stay.
You want to stay? Wow. And I want to be in Canada. Like,
Yay,
I've got my
okay.
Canadian shirt on. I love you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. Good.
So I thought I'd wear it in your honor today. Okay, first of all, I'm going to go to you, Emily, and then kind of like flip the question a little bit. How did you kind of create, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. I know it's a big question, Wynonna, and just like from the comic book, what was it about it? And then I'm going to ask you guys how you got involved and why.
Perfect.
You know what's funny? I never heard this actually.
Oh,
I
well,
don't
get
even
ready.
know.
It's
Yeah.
pretty exciting.
Cool.
We were just saying this is like the funnest, most random panel.
Yeah.
We were like, is
How
it like,
am I going to do this
we were
panel?
like, is it shorties? Like, is it people under 5'5"? We were like, amazing. What is it? It's a natural panel though. It's perfect. So I wrote a show called Lost Girl, which I really loved working on. Thank you. Which definitely changed my life. Good thing I have some cookie in my throat. And it really taught me about genre and what you could do with genre and just really push the boundaries with representation and diversity and just have so much fun doing it. So I knew I didn't want to ever leave genre as far as writing. IDW, which owned the comic book, Wynonna Earp, which was written by Beau Smith in the 90s. Yes, such a good guy. The best. He should come next year, just putting that out there. They were really looking for a female showrunner to develop Wynonna. They knew that it had the strong female protagonist, and they just wanted a certain angle on it. It had been in development for years. It had Jessica Simpson attached at one point, which was pretty funny. And so they sent me the comic and said, would you consider developing this? And as soon as I picked up the comic, it was definitely a product of its time. She's like very TNA. She's basically wearing like Band-Aids over her boobs and fighting mummies, as you do when you're fighting mummies. But what I loved about it was just her kick-assness, her sense of humor, and probably the biggest thing for me was it was a Western, and I grew up in Calgary. So ironically, that's where we now shoot Wynonna Earp. I really felt like the supernatural Western needed to be brought back. I thought it was a chance to kind of reinvent the Western and kind of take all the traditional male roles and make them just everything, just kind of subvert it and make it modern, and instead of horses have motorbikes and what have you. And they really loved that pitch. I also was watching a ton of Frozen because I have a little girl, so I thought that the romance of the show should be sisters. I was like, let's just flood the whole thing. I did this crazy pitch. I kind of had nothing to lose because I was like, here's what I would do with it, and they really loved it. So that's how I got involved, and here we are. And I'm so happy. It's all because of you guys. Thank you so much.
So, to kind of, as actors, kind of like, what was it about did you get a script? Did your agent call up going, hey, there's this supernatural Western. What was it that drew you to audition or? You go first.
Well, as a struggling actor, you take the audition that you get, and so it was so funny. Emily actually writes fake sides. We call them sides, what we audition with, which are just scenes from the script usually, but she makes them up so like no one leaks secrets, and I didn't know that.
You guys will find them on the internet, and they're like real scenes, so.
Yeah, and you know what? They're pretty brilliant scenes too, I thought so. And it was like with a fake Dolls character and with a fake Wynonna. And so I didn't really have much of an idea because I like looked up the names. I'm like, these aren't even characters in the show. Like, so I guess I'll just do whatever I want. Like, I don't even know what to do other than just trying to make it up in whatever resonates with me. And so kind of just went into the audition and had a lot of fun. It was super funny, the character, and it was written like how Jeremy is. And I didn't think much of it, and I headed off to LA, and I was meeting with managers and agents. I was on my like last dollar. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do after this. And I get a phone call while I'm there, and it's like, hey, can you fly to Calgary on Monday? You got the show, Wynonna Earp. I'm like, what the heck's Wynonna Earp? it's like, oh, it's that show you audition with the fake sides. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, awesome. And the next thing I know, I'm in Calgary and I am acting on Wynonna. It was kind of a whirlwind.
I was on set your first day, and it was with like Waverly and the big like demon in the lab, and you were like, "What is happening?
Yeah.
Where am I? No 201."
Yeah. And the hala was just like moving around like it's like
I was like, "Welcome to my Earp."
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a wonderful way of getting into it. Of like, this is totally a crazy sci-fi adventure, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, I think I read the script at the beginning of when they were auditioning for Wynonna Earp, and then I saw the Bible, and I was like, this is so rad. And I loved I loved Wynonna because she wasn't like typical. Like she was so complex, and it was like written for a male. I felt like it was so. Yeah, and then I auditioned for Wynonna, and then it's funny because when I read the script and I looked at the Bible, and I was like so intrigued by it, and then when I didn't get it, it just kind of fell to the wayside. But then I was like, what happened to that? And then I actually I went online, I went on iTunes, and I bought the season. Because I really wanted to.
You wanted to see.
Yeah, I wanted to see how it all transpired. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see it after pilot, see like episode 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got hooked, and then I auditioned a bunch of other times and got Rosita.
Yeah. So we love Rosita.
Kind of just,
I love Rosita. I love that introduction of that character. And I was going to ask you, like, how, introducing new characters in kind of like second season, that's kind of brave. Everyone's kind of like settled down. You've got your core group. And then, and fans could go either way. Oh, I do not like this girl. But I think because she's a demon, but she had heart. And it was,
Yeah, I get asked the blue.
The blue peacemaker.
Blue peacemaker all the time. I'm like, I don't know. You got to ask Emily.
Yeah, exactly. It happened again this year. It happened
a couple times.
I have a great theory.
I'm excited.
But if it's right, then I don't want to get in trouble.
Don't get in trouble. You'll probably get a huge raise.
I think the blue peacemaker is, in fact, when Wynonna sends them to heaven. Oh. And the red is when they send them to hell. So I'd like to think Willa is now in heaven and free of pain and
suffering.
Not suffering, I hope. And then the first Revenant one who turned blue, and then now this new blue one. That's what I think.
Good. Okay, that's a good
Emily's like, no.
I know. I'm like not an actress, so I have to be careful about my poker face. Just like, quick, pull the fire alarm.
We don't know. Just saying, we don't know.
We don't know.
You guys don't know.
Emily doesn't tell us anything until we open the script.
That's definitely not because I'm making it up as I go along. Just kidding. Yeah.
So I've got one last question. I'm going to open it up to everybody. I'm sure you've got loads of questions, but I just have to say, because my friend Sarah that watches the show, she kind of like said to me yesterday in the office, she was like, I'm really worried about everybody's kidneys because it's cold all the time where you're filming, and everyone wears really short jackets, and you're going to get a chill.
Yep.
So why is it always like, is it just the way that you schedule the show that like, we're going to schedule it in winter because, or does it work for like, the storyline purposes? Is it just, I think have to know?
Both. We've made it work, but like if you told me you had to do season 4 in Tahiti, I'd be like, okay, we will. Sorry, guys. It kind of just ended up being the schedule, to be honest. And this is what I always say, and then fans feel less bad about making you film in the winter, is we could wait for the summer, but then we'd be off the air for 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. You can stay cold.
I know.
I'm going to tell
We do put like hot shots on their kidneys, like those things that like you peel off. We have them in Canada, and they actually like warm up, like heating pads, and we put them on underneath their mini skirts and stuff sometimes, right?
Yeah. We're all heated up.
Okay.
They're all heated up. And then like right before they go on camera, we like take off the duvets.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, Varun's like, it's still freaking cold.
Yeah. And it's so funny as like the guys, we always find clever ways of bringing a jacket when we know the next scene is outside.
Oh, yeah.
Like Shamir grabbed a jacket during our one when we're all being tied and pulled together, and he's like, we're going to be outside next time, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm going to grab this jacket.
Oh, like at the end of the scene?
Yeah, at the end of the
that's so
scene, you just
smart.
see him grab it, just because like we kind of know what we're getting into once we're outside. Yeah.
That's smart. That's
Yeah.
a smart thing to do.
It's a
That's
strategy we
smart-
developed.
that's a
Yeah.
smart move.
That's how we were able to hide Wynonna's pregnancy, though, too, is everybody was in giant parkas and huge scarves. So, like,
I think that was like
yeah.
wide schedule.
So, whew, thank
I didn't
God
even
that
know
happened.
Mel was pregnant until 3 weeks into filming. And I was acting in scenes with her. I just didn't know.
6 months pregnant.
Yeah, I
I
had
know.
no idea.
That's cool. Well, thank you for allaying that curiosity. Okay, so we've got some hands going up, so we're kind of like going to go front to back. So,
Hi. What was it like working with Michael Eklund?
Ooh. Yeah, shout outs to Michael Eklund, I think. Yeah. Michael Eklund is a crazy man. He's like an incredible actor because he's like, he doesn't even know what he's gonna do in a scene. So it always surprises you, and it's always kind of terrifying and intriguing and weird. And he always keeps you on your toes. He loves playing Bobo, and he really gets into playing Bobo. I'm sure there's take after take of him licking things.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing of
Everything
Michael.
and everybody.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't discriminate. But genuinely, like, we did this one scene at the end of season 2 when I confront Bobo, and there was one take, I went a bit early, and he has to punch the wood board through the mine shaft, and I went a bit too early, and he punched it, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, I went early, and he looked at me with like the most anger and Bobo hate I could ever experience, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. I can't act with this guy. He's gonna kill me. Like, it's amazing. He just gets so into the character. He's, I don't know, he's very special like that. Yeah.
It's funny, though, the first time I met him, like, I find, like, because he puts it all on the floor, he's so soft-spoken, though, too, off-screen. The first time I met him, my mom came to set, and he was the first actor she met, and he was wearing, like, a purple turtleneck sweater, and my mom was like, did you knit that yourself, Michael? And he was like, you know, I did. I knit this myself. Like, he's kind of, like, gentle and soft-spoken. I guess, like, if you get to, like, play it all, you can go home and be, like, completely fine. So,
He's super sweet.
okay, so there, and then we're gonna.
Hello?
Yep, that's good.
So I'm going to ask a silly question. We have the sheriff department, which doesn't have any budget, and then we have Nicole Hott changing uniforms every season and having T-shirt wearing at home previous episode.
Right.
So how does she get the budget? And there, seriously,
Prostitution is my answer.
Is that
No.
coming up in season 4?
Yeah, that's coming up, yeah. She's just incredibly resourceful. She just recycles a lot of bottle drives, maybe a car wash with Waverly in her shorties uniform we could see. She'll do anything for Nicole, so I don't know. I know all the cosplayers are like, can you stop changing the costume? That would be great. I just spent 6 months making a Nicole Hott outfit, so next year spacesuit, just for you.
Cool. Next question. Where do we go? If we go there, and then if we can kind of, and then we'll go on that side of the aisle.
I'm from Portugal.
Hello.
Yeah, hola.
My question is for Ellie. And why the other writers, the feedback of the other writers about your work, it's so amazing. It's so crazy. This season, it's like a ride, you know.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so much emotion.
Thank you.
So what is the feedback of your co-workers?
What is the feedback of my writers?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and welcome from Portugal. I feel like what has made this show special, there are two things. The first thing is you guys, 100%, just like you, 100%. Just Earpers being committed and understanding what's coming out of our crazy brains is still insane that you guys are here for it. Either we're all broken or we're all geniuses. Let's go with the second option. And obviously the other thing is the commitment of our cast and crew. I mean, you just see it on the screen, you see it behind the scenes. I feel like everybody is so committed to the crazy. But because you guys are so into it, it's so much fun to be in the room and be like, should they lick a potato? Yeah, they should. Of course they should. That'll drive them crazy. So I like to think I have a small group of writers. There's only about 5 of us. They're incredibly talented. They're very diverse. But I like to think I run a pretty democratic room. It really is like a safe space to pitch crazy ideas. It's Wynonna Earp, and the best idea wins, you know? They're a very talented bunch, and we pass the scripts all around, pitching jokes and whatnot. So I think they're having a gas. They came to ACON, which was at Canada, and it was so nice to see the writers get celebrated too, to be honest. Yeah, they're like... Because we're an awkward bunch. We're behind the scenes for a reason. So thank you for just loving them and appreciating what they do. And everybody from the cast to the art department to the directors. It's such a special crew. So thank you.
Hi. So because we've had Zoe Palmer and I didn't dream. Anna Silk, she was like announced to be on the show. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. You didn't dream it. It's happening. It's happening.
Right.
Good. Exciting.
Was that me?
Yep.
There's a strap.
Sorry. No. I was just wondering, would you like to bring anyone else from Lost Girl or anyone that you guys have worked with in the past, like, onto the show?
Who's your dream cast?
I always liked that question we got, like, what universe would you like to cross over with? And I always thought it'd be funny to see Schitt's Creek on Wynonna Earp, because then Tim could play both characters.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
But they're so different.
Yeah, I know, they're
That
so
would be
different.
weird.
I know, it'd be weird, but I just think
He would have to be
funny.
like buff and skinny at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And like mustache, no mustache. Yeah. I love my Lost Girl cast. I thought they were all amazing. I'd love to bring Ksenia on, Ksenia Solo, who played Kenzie. And my thing is when I bring them on, without giving too much away, like I really like to, they did such good work on Lost Girl, but you entice them to Calgary in the winter by saying, you can play something completely different. So obviously Zoe Palmer, not that evil, terrible baker in real life. I'd have any of them, to be honest. There's so much talent in Canada, I feel like. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you. Canada represent. But I would also take Sigourney Weaver, just out of the blue. So she can come on, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
I like the new additions this season.
Yeah.
I really like Justin Kelly and
Yeah.
Sebastian Piggott and I can't remember other names.
Chantel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every time someone would pop up on the screen, I'm like, oh my God, yes!
Oh, good. That's good.
They're great additions. But I think Anna would be great.
Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah.
She's coming up.
Got another question back there, and then, yep.
Hello, Emily.
Hi.
My question is to you. Love you guys, by the way. Rosita, rock on. My question is, how are you guys going to introduce Wesley Del Rey?
How are we going to introduce?
Wesley Del Rey, Bobo's younger
Oh,
brother.
Wesley Del Rey.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a Michael Eklund geek.
No, that's okay. I don't even know who Wesley Del Rey is. There is someone in the comic called Mars Del Rey, who is Bobo's much meaner brother.
He's a younger brother, yeah. I know him as Wesley.
His name is Wesley.
Yeah, I know.
I am not familiar with Wesley. I'm sorry. I only know Mars Del Rey.
He's like the brother no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Wesley.
Well, I did
Black sheep of the Black Sheep family.
I asked you this question on Twitter, and I got, "Who's Bobo?" Question mark.
Who's Bobo? Maybe I was teasing you. That's probably what was happening.
That was straight after you asked me what a foul was. But
That sounds
So
on
we've got
point.
another question.
Listen, I'll cast all the Del Reys, the whole Del Rey family, though. Yeah. Okay. Oh, amazing. Okay, good.
crossover.
Sounds great.
another
I'll cast
question?
them all. Yeah.
Yep, question, where's the microphone gone? There, and then you go first because you've got it now, and then you'll be second, okay? Okay. Right?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My question is obviously for you, Varun. Jeremy has developed so much as a character through the seasons, and I was just wondering, obviously my daughter loves you. She keeps asking us for a Jeremy for Christmas. How do you feel about your character? How do you feel he's developed?
How do you feel Jeremy's developed?
Oh. Oh, that was for me. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Sorry, I'm a Geordie.
I thought you said Jolene, and I was like, oh, Jolene.
Yeah, you said Jolene.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Jolene? Oh, okay. Oh, how do you feel Jeremy's developed? I really love the direction Jeremy's going in. I think in season 2, it was he was trying to fit in, and he was trying to be seen as one of the group and part of the family. And I think in season 3, he really has settled into being part of that family, and now he can start to work on himself, which has been kind of a beautiful development, because I think that moment, that pivotal moment where he stood up to Bobo has kind of shifted him, because now he's starting to find he can be brave and he can stand up for what's right more than he thought he could. And so like even those scenes with Wynonna and Dolls' mourning is like Jeremy is believing in himself that he knows what the right thing is, and it's not just to please others. Yeah.
Your question next.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Lily from Hungary, I think you guess. First of all, I want to say big thanks to especially Emily. She brought to us this Hungarian background, and I'm really lucky to be here and represent all of the Hungarian fans of yours.
Thank you.
For the
You know,
show.
Andrus is a Hungarian name.
Yeah, and I actually wrote you a letter, and it's outside there, and I mentioned this in it.
I don't speak any Hungarian, though. I'm so sorry, but you'll have to teach me, okay?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
szeretlek is mean I love you.
Aw, thank you.
And,
I love you too.
Can you tell us about something, this Hungarian thing in the background? Is it related to you, or is something to do with the story?
Well, the Stone Witch is Hungarian, and she speaks Hungarian. There's just a really rich Hungarian tradition in Western Canada, actually. There were a lot of Hungarian immigrants as well early on who settled the prairies. So as much as possible, we want to connect to that Western element and really visit people who would have been in the Old West. You know what I mean? You're welcome. But also, like, Hungarians are badass. They're like the most beautiful people in the entire world. I'm not biased at all. And they make amazing sausage, so there you go. And they just have a rich storytelling tradition. So I felt like it just made her such a powerful woman. I find like, I hope you feel like this, but I feel like Hungary has such a fierce, like, matriarchal tradition of really strong women. And so I really like that Constance Clutie just didn't take any bullshit. I hope that's okay. Or I'm making you cry because you disagree? Oh, I hope that's okay. But so, thank you. Listen, we should do EarperCon Budapest, okay? No pressure, but let's do that.
Start raising the
Okay.
funds
Thank you
now.
so much. I love you. Thank you.
Question at the back. Waving then, just, yeah.
Hi.
I know.
So speaking of Jeremy, we had a bit of a bomb dropped on us about his past, but it was such a crazy episode that we kind of glossed over it. I was wondering if we're going to see any reactions to that.
I don't know. I kind of want to know Emily's reaction to that. Like what? When I read it in the script, it's so Jeremy is he was trapped with his mother's body for 3 days, like, and that's what's given him.
There's an implication that that's where it's like empathetic
Yeah, that's where his
powers come
groin powers come from, and
His
so
groin powers, yeah.
yeah, his groin powers, and so it's. I love that a lot. Like Emily kind of told me about this last year, alluded to it, and so I kind of held on to that idea because it's like, whoa, Jeremy's like such a kind and nice person, and yet he's suffered like one of the worst traumas in his life, and so like how does that inform him as a person? And it just, I don't know, when he said it to Robin in that moment, it was to comfort Robin, because I think Jeremy has, he's worked through it in some way, and he's more about solving why it happened than like dealing with, I'm super sad about it now. It's like he's on the case to figure out what happened to his mom.
Yeah, I love that. I love that exactly, that he's such a positive character but like just that reveal that he suffered such a horrible trauma just makes him that much more special, like everyone on the show as well. I think that he chooses to be optimistic and hopeful, and I love that about that character. So yeah.
Thanks for your question.
They were kind of fighting a headless woman. It was a very busy time. Potatoes were being licked. Yeah, people had peed in the barn. It was a lot happening. Yeah.
We've got a question here in the middle, and then we'll come to you. So just back there with the cap, and then you second, okay? It's like gonna get
Hi.
pointed.
I have a question for Emily. What would you do different if you had a Game of Thrones HBO kind of budget?
Oh my God. Oh my
Not
God.
filming
More
Calgary.
capes. More capes for sure. My God, just like more action sequences, more battles, more characters, more backstory. Like just, I just would love to have more revenants, more demons, just things pouring out of the gates of hell. More bikinis. More of everything, just casual dragon riding, you know, better coffee. I know this sounds, I feel like so much of the charm of the show is because I like being the underdog on some level. I would like to be like slightly less of the underdog. I'll take $10 more, but it forces us hopefully to make the characters so rich, right? I really need an Earp sisters scene where they're sitting on the couch to be as compelling as a battle sequence in Game of Thrones, or at least close. So I think I would just do more of everything. It'd be fun to have more time to shoot more action sequences. That's one thing I would like to do. Really choreograph some funny, good stuff. Yeah.
How long does it take, just to follow up, just how long does it take to kind of like film?
So the average episode, we do block shooting, which means we shoot 2 episodes at the same time. So these guys are like, they have to know 2 scripts at the same time, and like are constantly like changing outfits and being like, where am I? Am I a gnome wife, or am I getting a potato thrown at me? What's happening? We do a block in 13 or 14 days, which is like nothing. Like Game of Thrones is, every episode is 25 days, one episode. So I think that Battle of the Bastards was 32 days, which is like 6 episodes for us.
The giant battle they said was like 3 months or something.
Oh my God, 3 months, that's crazy. So yeah, it's pretty fraught. Everything's got to be really tight. We don't shoot a lot of stuff that you don't see on screen, to be honest, so.
And
That's
also,
okay.
I just want to add that like necessity is the mother of invention, and so like at the end of episode 1 with the car crash, with Waverly and Wynonna, they couldn't afford to do like a crazy car crash, so they came up with this beautiful artistic sequence.
Yeah, so
to
beautiful.
The music. Yeah, and I just feel like that would never happen if you had a crazy budget. Like think these kind of things, these kind of beautiful artistic pieces can come about by this. Yeah.
I think it makes
But
sense.
if you're offering the Game of Thrones budget, I humbly accept. Thank you so much. Yeah.
We have this question here. Thank you.
Hello. Kat and Dom always say that this show changed the... Sorry, my English is really bad.
That's okay.
That this show changed their lives regarding representation and visibility. I wonder how, in what way has this show changed your lives? I'm sorry if they asked you before. I got late in this panel. So.
That's okay.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yeah. Like me? I think it's definitely changed my life. I think it's like an affirmation of why I do what I do. I'm 100%. And even going to Klexicon was a huge eye-opener of like, because you know, you're like an actor, well, being an actor, you like struggle through ups and downs, and you're broke and you're rich and then you're broke again, and and it's just an affirmation to keep going, and it's a calling in so many different ways that making a difference in other people's lives, and I don't realize that because I'm just like, oh, I'm just acting, and then after you're like, oh my God, I'm helping others, which is a huge way to continue to do what I do, because sometimes you just want to give up. You're like, oh my God, it's so grueling being an actor sometimes, but this is like my heart.
Follow that.
I have such an interesting history with that. I think for so long I never valued representation because I never had it, and so I kind of believed I did it without it and that it didn't matter, but in reality it was me holding on to the shame of never having been represented, and the things that did represent me were often caricatures or jokes or stereotypes. And I traveled India and I met these incredible Earpers at this LGBT event in Mumbai, and seeing their kind of strength to, well, at the time it was illegal, now it's decriminalized in India. But I don't know, seeing their strength in the face of a society that's telling them that they're wrong to even exist was first the most inspirational thing, and then some Earpers recognized Dom and I, and that was the best thing ever, and they bought us drinks, and we were partying with them and dancing, and one of them took me aside and said how much it meant to her that I was Indian and a gay character, and that it makes her feel less alone, and that was like the first time it really made me realize, oh, I was living in this pain, and I wasn't trying to help others, I was just trying to control this pain for myself. And the minute she said that, it was a realization of like, oh, I can help others never feel that way again. And so from that point on, I value this more than anything in the world, and I think about it constantly. Yeah.
The truth is, it is an honor. I get emotional about it, but it's an honor and a privilege to write something where we strive so hard to do well with representation and diversity. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly being educated by the fans and by people who feel marginalized and don't feel they see themselves recognized on television. I just want to get better and better and better and better and better. But like, I say this all the time, this audience is also proof to my bosses and the people who I have to convince that we are here and we want our stories told, and there's an audience for it, and we deserve to see ourselves on television. It's so important. So thank you so much for just supporting these stories and for helping us get better, honestly. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you guys, yeah. I get the worst.
Okay, some more questions, because I'm going to cry. So go here, and then we'll go there. And
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm not bad, I'm awake, it's a good start. My question is, I spoke to Emily last night about it's her story to tell, and it's for us to enjoy and be part of as an extension to it. I found my family watching this show, and I just wondered, I asked Mal and Tim earlier, what would you want for the characters in season 4?
I would want a little redemption. I love the fact that she's bi, because love is love, and I love the fact that, like, I think Emily does a really great job of getting all sides of the spectrum and not just one or the other. And I think that's what those are the two things that I would want.
Yeah. Excellent, good.
It's because I know how this season ends, like I want very specific things.
Tell me in the green room, I'm excited.
Yeah. In general though, I want it to get even darker.
Ooh.
Yeah, and this season is dark, so you know what I mean.
Tim said something similar earlier.
He did, eh?
Okay. Yeah, because I think you have to go, it's like kind of metaphor, it's a metaphor, like deeper into hell until you can reach heaven. And so it's like, I don't know, I think it just has to get darker and darker until we see the light.
I'm like, redemption.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like more vegetable licking.
Exactly. Good. Thanks for that question. There was a question right behind.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I always find it really hard to explain to people what Wynonna Earp is. Like, when I'm excited, I don't know how to put it into words. Because, like, you want to do an elevator speech that says what it is, but if you literally say it, you sound like a crazy person. Like, in the nicest way you do.
Even the title is like a crazy title. You're like, what?
How would you guys, like, in short, sell the show to try and convince someone else to watch it.
Oh, God. Have you ever asked Melanie Scrofano to describe it?
Not
She's just
yet.
like, you can see her soul leave her body in like an interview when she has to do it. She's like,
tried earlier on, actually. And,
okay.
Go on,
What
have
would
a
you,
go.
what would you guys say?
I'm like, it's a Western sci-fi show.
Yeah,
I
I know,
don't
that's
even
what I
know
say
what to
too.
say. I say it's like a
Western sci-fi.
kick-ass feminist supernatural
Yeah.
demon hunting Western.
I say like Buffy.
Yeah.
I kind of
Buffy
reference
meets
Buffy.
Frozen meets
Xena.
Justified. Xena, yeah,
Xena.
sure.
Yeah.
It's hard too because the Western thing like drives some people away, but then some people like it because it's sort of a Western, but not really. It's kind of an action show. So I just say if you like Buffy meets Tarantino, sort of, with potato licking.
But the thing is, like,
And then just keep pressing the elevator button to all the floors until they agree to watch it, and then you can let them off finally.
it's like
when they're
much like
"Fine."
people, you can't label it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
You can't,
impossible.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it fits every category.
I know. It's amazing it got made because, like, yeah, just trying to pitch it, you're like, it's not that simple, but.
I do say it's one of the most inclusive shows.
Oh, that's good.
There is
Yeah.
around, and that often gets people, like,
Good.
because we all want to see ourselves. So.
Yeah.
I had a neighbor that he loves westerns.
Oh, good.
He's really into like Longmire and
Oh,
all that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
He's like, oh, you're in a western sci-fi. I'm gonna watch it.
Perfect.
Yeah. And he watched it and he's like more into the western than the sci-fi.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
really liked it.
I
And
didn't
he
know there'd be
continued
so
to
many
watch
tentacles.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like whatever your gateway drug is, right? You got to judge your audience. Like if
Yeah.
it is someone who like was a Western, so you're like, oh, totally.
Yeah.
If it's someone who likes Buffy, you're like, totally.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I think
it's like The Crown. Just say whatever it is. Say like you'll love it.
The only thing I found that works is I told a friend that there's only like 2 guys in it who have significant number of lines, and for some reason that worked.
No,
It's the
okay,
only
yeah,
time
fair
I've
enough,
done it, but
yeah,
thank you.
So we've got a question down the front, and then I'm going to gaze back there. Yeah, okay, so just here, and how are we doing for time? Yeah.
Hi. It's a question for Emily. It was kind of following up because I did your writers' workshop
good,
yesterday. And I think you were saying, you know, it's an action show, but it's so grounded in the characters, and I think that's what makes it so special. Everybody is so invested in the characters and loves them.
Thank you.
And I just wonder, how difficult does it get? You know, we love it so much. I'm hoping we get this, you know, double-digit seasons.
Wow.
How much harder does it get as you go on? You know, to always stay true to the character and always bring it back to that? And how do you keep, you know, ensuring that you do that?
Yeah, how do you keep it true to character? You know what, inevitably, as a show goes on and the fandom grows, people have different opinions about what makes the characters tick and what they would do in specific situations and what they want out of the characters. But I think hopefully you have set the groundwork, we have, that the characters are so three-dimensional, they have so many secrets and layers and room to grow. You just have to be honest. In the writing room, we're really honest with each other. If we're like, Wynonna wouldn't do that, or that's more of a Doc move, or Jeremy's just not going to say that. We really try to challenge each other, and I'm sure we've made missteps, but we're trying really hard. It just always comes back to character. Like, you really can't just do something that's convenient for story. It has to be specific to how would Rosita take on that demon tentacle versus how would Jeremy take on the demon tentacle. So
Running, screaming?
yeah, running, sure, whatever. He's getting better, but like we just honestly have to constantly challenge each other in the writing room. But it is interesting because like this fandom is so inclusive, but definitely people have their favorites and different visions for the characters and stuff like that. So you have to shut out some of that noise as much as we can. Yeah.
And we had a question there, and the lady with the glasses back there. Just stick your hand up one more time. There we go. And
they're coming for
making
you.
these volunteers run around.
I know exactly.
While I sit
Get
here.
their steps. Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Hi, my question's for Tamara. So Rosita's not been on our screen for a little bit. What do you like to think she's been up to in the absence?
She's in a lair. Surviving, which she does, constantly hiding, surviving, running, hiding, surviving, running. Yeah, I haven't really, that's a good question. That's what I think. I think that it's, she's trying to figure out a way, I think, to come back and redeem herself in a way. I think the way it all went down was not the way that she would have liked it to go down. But you know, the circumstances around it, it's survival. So that's my answer.
Do they make a Hallmark card that says, "Sorry, I tried to steal your baby"?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
hard to find. Yeah.
We've got time for one last question. I'm sorry, so it's the pressure is on.
Hi.
Hi.
When you've got Monster of the Week sort of stories, but then they have to feed into the whole big story, the fact you need the deaths to mean something and that kind of thing, is it harder than just writing an odd Lost Girl episode where you're like, yeah, we can get rid of it, it doesn't really matter at the end of it?
Right, like to keep the serialization?
Yeah.
It is a little bit like Tetris, and I've never been good at math. I think just like keeping all the storylines in your head and tracking all the stuff and the mythology and the number of revenants we've killed and all that stuff. So we have an amazing coordinator named Kristen Handley who she has a million spreadsheets and charts, and like it's just like a beautiful mind in her office, but she's always smiling, she's okay. I really like it. I really appreciate, I like writing serialized storylines. I like seeing the characters grow and change, but then occasionally, this is what's so great about Wynonna Earp. Sometimes you can handcuff Wynonna and Nicole together, and then they take on a giant gnome who wants one of them for a wife, and everyone's like, yeah, we're here for that too, it's okay. But then maybe you find out something about Nicole's backstory in it. So it feels like a good combination for us now of like case of the week and character development and serialization. So every year gets a little easier because you guys have all shown that you're here for it, so you seem to like the balance. So.
An excellent last question. I'm sorry that this panel has come to an end. This has been so much fun. I want you all to put your hands together.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much, you
Emily,
guys.
Tamara, and Varun.
Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you. I love it. Oh my gosh, thank you. Shakalaka, swag. Oh, I love this too. Hungarian.
So
I know, I love it. Thank you. Yeah.
Time for you all to do what you next got to do. I'm going to stick around because I've got another panel in half an hour, I think. So maybe I'll see some of you again.
Is it anyone we know?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.